took the plunge and I ordered a Zero Press. I am really excited for it to show up so I can play with it. But in the meantime, I had talked to Craig over at Area419, and he said, well, if you're getting the press, do you have a stand for it? And I said, well, I've got this Lyman stand that I've used for my Dillon in the past, before I had the auto drive, and it worked fine. And he goes, well, they don't really have a plate that's made for it. You'd have to, do a bunch of drilling out on it. Do you have an inline fab? And I said, well, I don't have an inline fab because I've never had a need for one. I don't swap out presses, and in fact, I don't really have any other presses besides my Dillon. So it's just never been a need. And, inline fab makes fantastic stuff. So it's not a knock on them. I just haven't had a need for it. And he said, well, you want to buy a stand for the Zero? I said, well, what do you recommend? And he goes, well, if you're not going to swap out any of your presses that you don't own, then have I got the stand for you? He goes, we have this stand that's made by Big Dog Steel. He goes, it will not cease to impress you. And I said, okay, well, go ahead and send it to me. Like, how much more can it be? So this is, I think it's around 200, 210, something like that. It is a beast. Came in a big old box. It looks like, this size box, big 12-inch square type box. It is heavy as all get out. And I saw the label and went, ooh, I'm excited. And then I thought, wait a minute. This is a big box for a stand that I'm going to have to put together. Well, guess what? No putting together necessary. It comes completely assembled. And the best part is this is really heavy gauge steel and it is all welded. So once you get it bolted down, it ain't going anywhere. So I know this doesn't really impress on video, but let me tell you, it is heavy and it is solid, and this baby ain't moving. So I cannot wait to get a press on this thing. It does have this really nice laser cut or milled out, I don't know what they do, but Zero Area419, it's on both sides. So lest you forget what press is on here, this will remind you. This is the business side of it. So I would be working on this side of the press. Back here, you have these two really nicely made and protected holders for two additional turrets. So you can put the turrets back here and they will fit nicely. They will have space in the middle. So if you have the turrets, they're not gonna be banging around down the middle. And then you've got your base that's all cut out for the Zero. It's one of those things where there's only so many things I can say about it right now, but I was very excited to open it and play with it as much as I could. It does come with some really big and beefy hardware, so they are not joking around when they have you put this thing together in terms of bolting your press on and then bolting this down. And again, everything, I cannot tell you, compared to any other press stand I've had, how much heavier this thing is. So you've got welds, multiple welding points down the middle here. At the end, you've got weld points on the underside under here. So the top plate, everything is welded. The corners, any point where you would have a potential failure or loosening up if it was bolted has been welded. This plate's welded onto this plate. Everything is welded. And one of the really cool things about this particular design, we probably all own a few of these, and you can put acro bins on the side. The big one does fit. It just takes a little bit more work, like that. And then you can see both of them sit above grade if you need them to. And just a nice thoughtful design that they cut out for having those acros on the side. And it gets you a nice lift. Now obviously I don't have the press yet, and it will be mounted on my bench, which is about 3 inches lower than this, but I think I'm going to be really happy with kind of the height that it's working at without having to hunch over a little bit. So this is sort of like I got half my Christmas present. I'm still waiting for the rest of it. So I'm nervously excited to see what shows up. I haven't worked on any kind of a single stage press since I had my coax, but I have a really good feeling about this press. So we will see what happens when it shows up, and I will definitely share some videos when it does.